To me, the retrospective is probably the most meaningful ceremony. And there are a lot of pitfalls that can happen when your team is remote. So why don't you describe to us the pitfalls that you've observed and why you decided to make a tool to solve them?
Sure. So let's back up just for 1 minute. And it's more than just the most meaningful part of Agile to me. It's also the most important part of Agile. And I think the reason there is, look, if you ask me, how do you describe Agile in just 2 words? It would be continuous improvement. And how do you achieve that continuous improvement? It's via the retrospective. And the biggest shame in what I'm seeing across the industry is people either try to run retrospectives and don't achieve the continuous improvement that they're after, or it's a checklist item, or they just kind of skip it entirely, because who wants to do that anyway, right? It's a tough meeting to run effectively. Add to all of that the remote distributed component, and good luck.
Yeah.
It's really hard, right? That was my life as an Agile coach in a couple of years ago, and I decided that, look, someone has to try to fix this problem. And so quit my job as the Agile coach and founded Retrium, where basically we try to come up with a set of facilitation techniques that are all one click away to make your life easier as a retrospective facilitator and team member. So what are some of the biggest pitfalls? Well, first, not just about retrospectives, but about remote meetings more broadly. How do you create engagement?
Right.
How do you have people who are actively participating and can have their voice be heard? When you're on a conference call, everyone just immediately, you say the words conference call, and everyone says, I'm done, right? I don't want to, I'm done. Conference call is terrible. So add to that the retrospective piece, which is an emotionally intense meeting, and good luck. And so that's where good facilitation can really help.
Yeah, definitely. In your experience, can you describe some situations where you've seen actual retrospective you've been participating in fail, and why you think they failed?
Yeah. So the biggest reason, by far, number one reason that retrospectives fail is for lack of follow-through. You can have the best live meeting ever, where everyone feels happy and everyone feels like we came up with good action items and a good way forward. But at the end of the day, if you go home for the weekend and you come back Monday morning and your boss is saying, we must build product, we must build product, we must build product, and you forget about all of the process-oriented improvement things that you came up with last week, then the retrospective was a failure.
Right.
So the number one reason why retrospectives fail is not because of the meeting itself, but because of lack of follow-through. But assuming you know how the follow-through piece works, then what about the meeting itself?
Exactly.
So going back to that level, a lot of times it has to do with a lack of a level playing field. In every single team, you have people who are more senior, more junior, people who have more expertise and less expertise. And how can you make sure that you're bubbling up everyone's ideas in an equal way so that people feel like their voice is heard? Because let's face it, everyone has something to say, even if you're introverted. You just don't know how to say it.
Exactly. And that's something that I have observed also in my, before I started using Retrium, I know it's terrible to say, but